At 86, the tragedy of Ali MacGraw's life is almost too heartbreaking to comprehend. Once the epitome of Hollywood glamour, her radiant beauty and magnetic presence on screen made her a beloved star. With unforgettable roles in Love Story and The Getaway, she became the symbol of love, grace, and elegance in the 1970s. She captured the hearts of millions, playing the role of Jenny Cavalieri in Love Story, a character who was beloved for her vulnerability, wit, and the deep, poignant love story she shared with Ryan O'Neal's character. Her pairing with Steve McQueen in The Getaway further cemented her place as a major star, showing her ability to hold her own in both romantic and action-packed roles. To say she was a Hollywood icon would be an understatement. She was an entire generation's dream girl, the epitome of effortless beauty and heart. For years, her name was synonymous with both fame and romance. Her career was in its prime, and she had everything that a person could want: beauty, wealth, and recognition. But behind the glamorous image, Ali MacGraw's life has been far more complicated than the roles she portrayed on screen. The same world that elevated her to fame also thrust upon her the burdens of personal loss and difficult life challenges. Her first marriage was to actor and producer Robert Evans, the former head of Paramount Pictures, a marriage that ended in divorce. However, it was her second marriage to the legendary Steve McQueen that truly defined her life, and their love story became one of Hollywood's most iconic. Steve McQueen was not only her partner in love, but also in life, and their relationship was filled with passion, companionship, and a shared understanding of the public pressures that come with fame. For a time, it seemed that Ali had found her soulmate, the person she would navigate the highs and lows of life with. Their connection was deep, and their love was celebrated by the public, adding to the romantic allure of their on-screen and off-screen chemistry. Their lives were intertwined, both personally and professionally, and their shared love of adventure and freedom brought them closer together. They were the picture-perfect couple, adored by millions. However, tragedy struck in 1980 when McQueen passed away from cancer, and suddenly, Ali's life was turned upside down. His death left a gaping hole in her heart and a silence in her life that she struggled to fill. The love she had for Steve McQueen was profound, and his loss was not just the death of a husband, but the death of a piece of her soul. The grief that followed was almost unbearable, and Ali found herself grappling with the deep loneliness that can follow the passing of a spouse. The emotional burden was heavy, and the world watched as a woman who had once seemed untouchable in her beauty and strength now faced the greatest heartbreak of her life. For a long time, she couldn't escape the overwhelming sadness, and the pain lingered in her heart, causing her to retreat from the spotlight. As the years went on, Ali tried to find solace in her career and in her personal life, but life continued to throw obstacles her way. The loss of Steve McQueen was just the beginning of a series of struggles that would continue to shape her journey. In addition to emotional pain, Ali had to contend with the physical challenges of aging. Once a picture of health and vitality, she began to experience chronic health problems that affected her ability to fully engage with life. Her active lifestyle became increasingly difficult as she battled with pain and physical limitations. Chronic pain, particularly in her joints and back, began to rob her of the energy and joy she once had. What had once been a source of pride, her beauty and physicality, began to fade. But it wasn't just the physical pain that weighed heavily on Ali. The emotional pain of aging also crept in. As she aged, she found herself dealing with the isolation and loneliness that often accompany the later years of life. The loss of loved ones continued to haunt her, and the friends who had once been her support system were no longer around. Aging brought with it not just the loss of physical beauty, but the loss of a world that no longer seemed to recognize her. Yet, despite these hardships, Ali MacGraw's story is one of extraordinary resilience. Through it all, she managed to maintain a sense of grace and dignity. Rather than allowing the public's perception of her to diminish as she aged, she chose to embrace her reality with quiet strength. There was no dramatic fall from grace, no public outcry or despair, just the steady, silent acceptance of a woman who had lived through it all. Ali never allowed herself to wallow in self-pity. Instead, she found ways to cope with the changes that came with aging. including physical pain, the loss of loved ones, and the inevitable retreat from the public eye. In her own way, she continued to show up for life, even when it felt like life had given her more than she could bear. She found solace in smaller, more intimate moments and chose to live a life that was quieter but no less meaningful. Though her public presence had diminished, the elegance and strength that had defined her early years remained a part of who she was. As the years passed, Ali MacGraw grew more and more introspective, seeking peace and acceptance in the face of inevitable loss. She spent more time reflecting on her life, her legacy, and the people she had loved. Her love story with Steve McQueen remained an indelible part of her story, but she had also made a life of her own, one that was marked by personal growth, self-discovery, and a profound understanding of the human condition. She became more open about the difficulties of aging, speaking candidly about her struggles, and showing the world that even those who had once seemed untouchable were not immune to the harsh realities of life. She acknowledged her vulnerability and chose to share it, offering a rare glimpse into the inner life of a woman who had lived under the constant scrutiny of the public eye. Her later years were not marked by the same public admiration she had enjoyed during her youth, but they were no less important. They were years of reflection, of coming to terms with the passage of time and the challenges it brought. In many ways, they were the years that allowed her to come into her own, to redefine herself beyond the roles she had played on screen and in the public eye. She became a woman who had lived through pain, loss, and heartache, yet remained poised and graceful in the face of adversity. The way Ali navigated the later chapters of her life taught her fans a valuable lesson: that resilience is not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about facing them with strength, dignity, and acceptance. Though she may no longer be the glamorous star she once was, the impact of her work, her beauty, and her spirit remains. Her performances, particularly in Love Story, will live on for generations, reminding us of the depth of emotion she could convey with just a glance or a smile. Ali MacGraw's legacy is one that transcends her beauty or her stardom. It is one of resilience, strength, and grace in the face of life's most difficult trials. In the end, her story is a reminder that fame and beauty may fade, but the enduring qualities of strength, kindness, and authenticity will last long after the cameras stop rolling. Ali MacGraw's life, though marked by tragedy, is ultimately a story of triumph, and it is a triumph that will continue to inspire for years to come.